Now we are going to discuss about throttling flow controller. So here please note, we are not shifting the operating point by using more than one pump, not by changing the speed. Here we are changing the operating point by changing the or by shifting the system curve. Okay, so how I told you we can shift the system curve by using a control valve. So here we are including a control valve also. Okay, so please note down this diagram, throttling flow control using a control valve, and also note down this diagram. So please note this pump curve, please note this system curve. Okay, this is flow rate. There is no need to write these numbers, different flow rate. This is discharge pressure, okay, of pump. There is no need to note down this number, discharge pressures. For a time being, forget about this one. Okay, so just note down the curves and this axis, flow rate and discharge pressure. So please note down these two diagrams. Okay, thank you. So this one is throttling flow controller. So here I told you this one is a system curve without control valve. This one is a system curve without control valve. So it will have two parts. This one is the total static head. So in this particular case, the total static head is 13 psid. Okay, that is a static loss. Similarly, the dynamic friction, that is varying. So this one is a frictional loss, that is varying. Okay, assume that currently it is operating with a flow rate, this one, say for convenience 73 gallons per minute. 73 gallons per minute. So this one is a current flow rate. Now here a control valve is also included. A control valve is also included. Okay, means a control mechanism is also included. Here we have two dynamic resistance. The dynamic resistance offered by this one. This is actually fixed. This one is a dynamic friction, but that is constant if flow rate is constant. But this one is a variable resistance. Means if you are opening the valve, definitely resistance will decrease. So this one is a variable one. So the resistance offered by the orifice restriction, that one is included here. This one is a dynamic friction or friction loss, where this one is also included. Okay. Now what is happening with respect to this control valve? Say for convenience, assume that the control valve is 100% open. Control valve is 100% open. Even if it is 100% open, it will introduce some potential difference. So here the pressure is P1, here the pressure is P2. So definitely P1 will not be equal to P2, so a pressure difference is there. Okay, so means even if it is 100% open, the control valve is providing a frictional loss. So along with this system curve, we have an additional loss due to 100% control valve open. Okay, so this one is a loss due to that 100% open control valve, which will reduce if the flow rate is reduced. So please note the loss due to the 100% open control valve is something like this one. A shift is there from the normal system curve due to 100% control valve. So this one is a shift. Okay, so please note, so if it is 100% open, then the pressure loss due to 100% open valve at 73 gallons per minute is this value, that is around 15 psi. Around 15 psi is the loss due to 100% open control valve. Here you can see one more thing. Without control valve, the loss due to the frictional loss, means due to the pipeline, the resistive device, etc., are 15 psi. So this value, this 15 and this 15 is very important. If you are selecting a control valve, then corresponding to 100% open, the frictional loss due to control valve and friction loss due to the dynamic friction must be equal. That is very important. Okay, what I am saying is, it have a static pressure, that is 13 psi. It have a friction loss, except due to the control valve, it have a friction loss, that is 15 psi. So if you are selecting a control valve, the friction loss due to the control valve must be exactly equal to the friction loss due to the remaining parts of that process. That is, here you can see this friction loss due to the control valve at 100% open, means corresponding to 73 gallons per minute, is exactly equal to the friction loss due to the remaining parts, that is 15 psi. That is very important if you are selecting a control valve. Okay, so that one is mentioned here. That one is mentioned in this particular point. The friction drop across the control valve and the system friction loss, dynamic friction loss, must be equal. So here it is equal. At point 1, this is equal, and this is very important. It must be equal. Okay, so now to reduce flow. Normally you can see this controller in every process. To reduce flow, you have to close the control valve. Okay, so if you are closing the control valve, what is happening? I told you here the pressure is P1, here the pressure is P2. Now if you are closing the control valve, P1 minus P2 will increase. This pressure drop will increase if you are closing the control valve. Say for convenience, say this one is 20% open. If it is 20% open, the pressure difference will increase. The remaining pressure drop is same, the remaining frictional loss is same, but the pressure drop due to the control valve is increased if you are closing the control valve to 20% open. So what is happening? The control valve will, I told you, the control valve will contribute an additional drop that is increased due to the closing of control valve. So this one is the new curve due to 20% control valve opening. Means this additional pressure drop is increased with respect to the closing of control valve. So this is corresponding to 20% open control valve. So what is happening? Earlier this one is operating point because the curve is passed through this point. Now due to the closing of control valve, the point is shifted to this point, where the drop due to the control valve is this one, something around 60 minus 15, something around 45 psi is the loss due to control valve. That one is the loss due to control valve. Means that much energy is burned inside this control valve. Burned means that one is removed due to this control valve. What is the pressure drop due to the remaining frictional loss? That is very small, something around 2 psi. If this value is 15 psi, I already told you static pressure loss is 13 psi. So the friction loss due to the pipeline or the process is 2 psi. So now you can see, now you can compare this 2 psi, that is friction loss, and 45 psi, that is a control valve drop. So what is the ratio between these two? 45 divided by 2, something around 22. Means the pressure drop across the control valve or the removal of discharge pressure provided the pump due to the control valve is very large compared to the friction loss. So definitely efficiency will decrease due to this control valve, definitely. So that is not a problem because we are forced to use the control valve, to reduce the flow rate, we are forced to use a control valve. But it's a disadvantage if you are using a control valve. If you are using a control valve and if it is almost closed, if it is highly throttled, then what will happen? I told you this, say assume that this one is open to atmosphere. If it is open to atmosphere, this pressure is 0 or very close to 0 psi G. What about this pressure? If this drop is very large, this pressure is very large. This one is the discharge pressure. This one is the discharge pressure. Now you can see that P1 is very close to PD. P1 is almost equal to PD. Means if you are blocking the pump is continuously pumping liquid to this side, and that liquid is blocked by this control valve, so definitely a back pressure is generated. More and more back pressure is generated. Means pump is trying to pump liquid, but due to this control valve, pump is unable to pump the liquid. So definitely more heat energy is generated inside this control valve. Okay, so please note overheat will occur. Overheat will occur due to very large back pressure, that is due to the P1, means that is due to this control valve, a very large back pressure is generated. So overheat will occur. So definitely fluid will vaporize inside this one. What will happen if the fluid is vaporized? Slowly, small cavities are formed inside the pump. Small cavities are formed inside the pump. So definitely the life of pump will decrease. So what we have to do? If the pump is operated very close to the throttled condition, highly throttled means the control valve is highly closed. Means the pump is not capable to pump the liquid because the resistance is very large. Then what we have to do in order to avoid this overheating, even if the control valve is almost closed, we have to pump the liquid to some another point. So for that purpose, a recirculation is used. Always you can see a recirculation if you are using a control valve along with a pump. Even in your level process station, you can see a recirculation line. Why we are using a recirculation line? Otherwise, the life of pump will reduce. Okay, so normally, if it is a small scale application, so along with, I told you, the small portion is recirculated through a hand valve. If it is a small scale application. If it is a large scale continuous application, then instead of, so if it is a large scale continuous application, then instead of hand valve, you can see a back pressure regulator. So please note the direction of this one. So this one is the input line. So from the input side, we have an internal tap. So this one is a back pressure regulator. This one is a back pressure regulator. Means if this pressure is very large, by using that pressure, this control valve is open to this side. Normally this one is closed. If the back pressure is very large due to this throttled condition, the back pressure regulator will open this control valve to this side. Okay, so please note, so in order to avoid this overheating, etc., a recirculation is used through a back pressure regulator. So to avoid the situation, a bypass is provided, as recirculation is provided with a back pressure regulator. So what is the advantage? A minimum flow rate is guaranteed here. Even if flow rate through this control valve is 0, a minimum flow rate is guaranteed here. That is one advantage. Okay. Then what is the second advantage? So minimum flow rate is advantage. So it's not an advantage. The minimum flow rate means still low flow rate is achieved. If you are using equal percentage, what is the second thing that you can note? If you are using an equal percentage valve, what is the peculiarity of equal percentage of valve? Even if it is 0% open, 0% open means even if it is fully closed, a minimum flow rate will be there. That one is a characteristics of equal percentage valve. Okay, if you are using equal percentage valve. Otherwise, we can say this point, if you are using equal percentage valve, a minimum flow is there, something around very small flow rate. If you are going through the characteristics of equal percentage valve, this one is the characteristics of equal percentage valve where this value is Q minimum. Please note that. Actually, this one is Q minus Q minimum divided by Q max minus Q minimum into 100, I think. Okay, so a Q minimum is a minimum flow is the. Okay, so anyway, the main advantage is a pump can pump a minimum liquid even if it is fully closed. That is the advantage through this recirculation line. Okay, so that is throttling flow controller. So this one is, currently we are discussing about this centrifugal pump. What is the application of centrifugal pump, or where we can apply the centrifugal pump? We can apply or we can use centrifugal pump if we need high flow variation, low pressure applications. But what will happen if you are using centrifugal pump in slurries? If you are trying to pump slurries using centrifugal pump, if you are trying to pump slurries, the system curve is very large because the viscous force or the viscosity of slurry is very large. So definitely the viscous force is very large. So the system curve will shift to upward. System curve will shift to upward. So what we have to do? We have to use a device which is providing very large discharge pressure to overcome this shifting. So that one is achieved by using a rotary pump. Is it clear, all of you? So we can do that by using centrifugal pump. If you are pumping slurries, etc., we have to use rotary pump. Otherwise, the operation is similar to centrifugal pump. Whether it is on-off flow controller, on-off pressure controller, throttling controller, etc., the operation or the design or implementation is similar to the centrifugal pump. The only thing is we have to use relief valve. If not possible, we have to use rupture disc always with rotary pump. Here we are using back pressure regulator if you are using control valve. But in rotary pump, whatever be the case, whether it is a on-off flow controller, on-off pressure controller, whatever be the case, we have to use a relief valve. That is very important. That is the difference. Otherwise, it is similar to centrifugal